Being from Scotland, one of the things we're famous for, apart from other things like haggis, kilts, bagpipes, is castles. And since I started this channel, started to learn about Germany, one thing I realised about Germany is that they take castles to the next level, not just by how they look, but the sheer number of them, tens of thousands of castles in Germany, and I knew nothing of this before. So today we're going to look at this. It's the 15 most beautiful castles in Germany, and I mean this one to start with, that is just so majestic. If you compare that to the sort of Scottish stone castles, really like the ugly sister, man, that's so beautiful, this one. But let's watch this video and we can see some more of them. Tell me what your favourite German castle is. What's the most impressive?
Welcome to Lux Attic. Today we'd like to show you the 15 most beautiful castles in Germany. With over 2,000 years of rich history, Germany is home to some of the most beautiful castles in the entire world, a country with more than 20,000 palaces, forts and manors, just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah, right. Even just taking this one to start with, it looks in pristine condition, man. When you go to Scottish castles, a lot of them are like, a lot of them just are not in good condition, but the main ones just don't look anywhere near as tidy, as clean, and as perfect as this. This looks like Hogwarts, man. That looks like out of a movie or something like that.
Whether you're a history buff, just appreciate beautiful architecture, or you're into photography, then castle visits must be on your bucket list. If you're not sure which places you should visit first, we've made a list with the 15 most beautiful castles in Germany. Number 15. Glucksburg Castle. One of the most important Renaissance castles in Northern Europe, the superb Glucksburg Castle sits on the Flensburg Fjord, in the town of Glucksburg. It was built on an old monastery site, which housed many dukes and nobility, since the middle of the 16th century. Since it's very close to the Danish border, this castle was also used by many Danish kings throughout history.
I just wanted to say, like, I love how it looks from that angle as if it's almost floating on the water. This, again, taking the definition of a Scottish castle, it would look nothing like this. This looks like a very grand building, but you never really see any castle like this. Usually the castles in Scotland are on top of hills, because I think back in the day that was like the hardest sort of thing to invade. But this is a very stunning one.
Owned by a foundation headed by Christoph, Prince of Schleswig-Holstein, it now operates as a museum, which is open to the public. If you happen to be in the vicinity, it's definitely worth a day trip, especially when their gardens are open.
Tell me if you've been there. Tell me
Number
what
14.
castles you've been to.
Burg Altena.
In Germany.
The imposing Altena Castle is located in the small town of Altena, a 40-minute drive from Dortmund. Built in the 12th century on the Klusenberg Hill, this medieval castle was owned by the Counts of Berg. The House of Berg eventually abandoned it. The castle was even used as a courthouse and prison at one point in time, and in 1914 Richard Skierman turned it into a youth hostel, which is still operating today.
Whoa, that'd be a cool place to stay.
The hostel is located on the lower castle courtyard, while the rest of the rooms have been turned into a museum.
That's a great use
Number
of
13. Wartburg
castle.
Castle. This charming hilltop castle, located in the town of Eisenach, in central Germany, was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1999. Over 1,000 years of Germany's rich history can be still noticed today, as some of its original structures from the 12th and 15th centuries have been beautifully preserved. The interiors were restructured in the 19th century, turning the Wartburg Castle into a must-see attraction.
I just want what to say about this one. What I like is this sort of tower here. Is that a church in the middle of the castle? Again, they were talking about the preservation. Like, you can tell that in Germany they really preserve these historic buildings to a great standard. But this one, I love how it's got like so many different styles of architecture. You got this one that you could see in a lot of German towns. This is like a different one here as well. But yeah, I'm really impressed and intrigued with this church in the middle of it as well. Never seen that before.
12. Lowenberg Castle. A late 18th century castle of lions, the Lowenberg Castle is a medieval castle which was purposely built as a fortress. Sitting in the Burgpark Wilhelmshöhe, near the town of Kassel, the Grimm brothers' charming city, this castle is also a must-see. From the ruins that have been beautifully preserved, to its Baroque-style interiors, the armory, and the neo-Gothic chapel, not to mention the splendid outdoors, this castle offers lots to see.
That chapel is really cool as well.
Number 11. Schoenberg Castle. Today, the Schoenberg Castle is a fancy hotel restaurant, located in the UNESCO World Heritage Site, above the medieval town of Oberzel. Perfect for foodies, the menu is delectable, and the breathtaking views of the Engeholer Valley make it a culinary experience of its own.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's a great view over the river. But what I like so far, what I've learned about the German castles is that, as well as preserving them, they actually turn them into like modern solutions, like the restaurant we've seen at other youth hostels, so like accommodation as well. I feel like there's a lot of castles in Scotland that are just left in ruins. Like you can just walk into them, it's like bits of brick here and there. It's all overgrown with grass and stuff like that. Really, you should look at like renovation and reinvigorating the Scottish castles to like take an example from Germany. I really love what they've done with their castles.
The building itself has quite a special history as well. It was first built in the early 900s, and it was destroyed in 1689, during the War of the Grand Alliance by French soldiers. It remained in ruins for roughly 200 years, when a German-American family restored it. The town council eventually took ownership, and since 1957 it is leased to the Hupp family. Number 10. The Mespelbrunn Castle.
Mespelbrunn.
About an hour drive from Frankfurt, this late medieval, early Renaissance castle is a photographer's dream. The area around the superb Mespelbrunn Castle is surrounded by woods, and the castle sits right on a picturesque lake. Yeah,
that's, again, the location of this one. This looks like, if you see how far the trees go in the distance there, this looks very remote. I'm not sure what's on the other side, but it looks like it's really just plonked in the middle of a deep, thick forest. Again, it has that floating effect on the water here, which I've never seen in any other castle before, so maybe this is like a German style for castles. But this big turret in the middle here, all the buildings so far have like had very different architecture, but all very interesting in their own way as well.
As of today, the family of the Counts of Ingelheim are the owners of this magical castle, and still live on site. Who wouldn't want that? Number 9. Drachenburg Castle. This late 19th century private villa, situated about 20 minutes from the city of Bonn, and 40 minutes from Cologne, has a very interesting history. If you believe in dragon tales, this one will surely capture your attention. Siegfried, hero of Nibelungenlied, apparently slayed the dragon Fafnir on those hills, and bathed in his blood to become invulnerable. Today, the castle is fully restored and open to the public on the weekends. Its architecture is unique, and even though it's not as big as other castles in this list, it deserves to be ranked as one of the most famous castles in Germany.
Another stunning one. He mentioned the architecture. For them to restore it into a condition like that, I mean, that's a fantastic effort by whoever was involved with that. But look at the garden and stuff. So pretty, man. This is definitely like out of a fairy tale style.
Next up, number 8. The Hohenschwangau Castle. The mighty Hohenschwangau Castle is not only one of the most beautiful castles on this list, but its surrounding area is truly breathtaking as well. This castle is situated in the county of Ostallgäu, in southwestern Bavaria, very close to the Austrian border. The great King Ludwig II of Bavaria lived in this palace in the late 19th century. His father, King Maximilian II, rebuilt and redecorated the castle in a stunning Gothic revival style, which is still preserved today. Number 7. The famed Heidelberg Castle.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard of that one.
What makes this castle so popular with tourists? The Heidelberg Castle was built in the early 1200s, but was struck by lightning in 1537, and never fully recovered. It still sits on partial ruins, even though the castle was expanded by 1650. In 1764, another lightning bolt destroyed some of the rebuilt sections.
Why is it so susceptible?
If you're interested
to
in
lightning?
guided tours of the courtyard, the terrace, and its surroundings, it is recommended you book your visit in advance, as this is one of the most popular palaces to visit in Germany. Number 6.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard of that one before. Tell me if you've been there, if you're from Germany. Yeah, tell me what castles you've been to if you're from Germany. Have you been to any of these ones in this video? But that was just a grand building, very big.
Reichsburg, or the Cochem Castle. This imperial castle thrones over the Mosel River Valley, right above the colorful town of Cochem, and it's one of the largest medieval castles in the area. If you want that picture-perfect photo, and a unique cultural experience, this is the site you may want to visit. During the summer, there are lots of events here, which immerse the visitors into the medieval life at the castle, but at Christmas there's a special Cochem Castle Christmas, with traditional preparations and festivities. 5. The Schwerin Castle.
Schwerin Castle. Look at this thing. That is magnificent. I mean, I'm just trying to see the shape of it. It looks kind of like circular, possibly even triangle. No, maybe not. Maybe hexagonal or something like that. But every part of this, man, it's just so stunning. Like you see the gardens down there. But the building itself, again, a completely different style, colour. Maybe the styles are like dependent on the region of Germany. Maybe each region has a different architecture style. But this one is definitely the most grand I've seen. This doesn't even look real. Look at all the little points on the roof and stuff like that.
Castle.
So much detail.
Since 1857, the extraordinary Schwerin Castle is state-owned, but before that it housed dukes and the Grand Dukes of Mecklenburg. It is an old castle which dates back to the early 900s, but more records can be found from the 1800s on. Throughout the centuries this castle went through many updates, and only parts of the building, dating back to the 16th and 17th centuries, were retained. This beautiful piece of architecture is surrounded by lakes and forests, in the northern part of Germany. Number 4. The charming Lichtenstein Castle. This spectacular Gothic revival castle is another privately owned castle, located in southern Germany, about an hour drive from Stuttgart.
Literally on a cliff.
The unique history of the superb Lichtenstein Castle dates back to the years 1100. It was destroyed at least twice, and rebuilt in the 14th century, about 500 meters from the original ruins. It had a few different owners throughout the centuries, and went through countless restorations. Its rich history and its picturesque setting is probably the reason why it is one of the most popular castles in Germany.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you mentioned there the actual time periods and time scales we're looking at of how long these buildings have survived or been there for, like hundreds and hundreds of years, it's great that this history can still be continued, man, and like they still take such good care of them, man. I really appreciate that.
Number 3. The mighty Hohenzollern Castle. Another privately owned castle, the Hohenzollern Castle is the ancestral seat of the Imperial House of Hohenzollern, sitting pretty on top of Mount Hohenzollern, about an hour southwest of Stuttgart.
So imposing.
It was originally built in the 11th century, and it also went through several updates and restorations, as the years went by. The last one dates back to 1867, when architect Friedrich August Stuhler got his inspiration from the English Gothic Revival architecture, and the chateau of the Loire Valley. The castle is a must-see, not only for its incredible architecture, but also for the panoramic views it offers.
That's true.
Number 2.
It's like just perched on the top of that mountain, so the views must be spectacular, man.
The picturesque Burg Eltz. Burg Eltz is probably the world's most beautiful Ganurbenburg, a castle which belongs to several heirs and descendants of the Eltz family. This stunning hill castle is very well preserved, a statement of the gorgeous Romanesque and Baroque architectural style. 2/3 of the castle are open to the public, and the third is being used by a branch of the family as their private residence. It is a grandiose palace, hidden in a forest, that's definitely worthy of a visit. Finally, we're at number 1. The Neuschwanstein Castle, probably the world's most famous castle.
Okay, I've never actually heard of this, so tell me more about this one. I mean, you can even see it looks like a palace. It's so like decadent, man, with the colours, and it looks like this is like probably the most grand so far. And I mean, not only is the building itself so grand, but this location is just unbelievable, man. The blue lakes, the mountains there.
This
Stunning.
idyllic 19th century Romanesque revival palace is situated near Füssen, in the southwestern part of Bavaria, a few steps away from the Hohenschwangau Castle. King Ludwig II of Bavaria built this palace out of his personal funds, in honor of Richard Wagner, and today it is state-owned. It really is a breathtaking sight, with a mesmerizing architecture, that also inspired the castle in the Disney movie Sleeping Beauty. Since it is a very popular attraction, their rules for guided tours and photos are pretty strict, but there are a few special platforms, from where you can take that picture-perfect photo. This video is just a quick guide, meant to show you 15 of the most beautiful castles you can visit in Germany.
Okay, that was a great... For me to watch that, yeah, it was just like, it was a great experience. I really enjoyed that. I've seen some of the castles and some of the videos I've reacted to so far, but not really learned anything about them. So to really see that each one individually there, and this is just 15 of thousands of castles in Germany. I'm sure there's so much more beautiful ones as well, but these were like, I love just the uniqueness of each of them, how they all had their own style, their own architecture, which was very different from the others. Tell me what your favourite from all of those was. Tell me what region has the best castles actually in Germany. And yeah, tell me what you think about this video. Thanks.